Welcome to Onslow County Today. I'm your host, Lisa Whitman-Grice, and welcome to 2016. It is a new year, and we have lots going on in Onslow County to share with you. We'll be talking with our Consolidated Human Services Agency team. We'll also be talking with Onslow County Animal Services, and finally, we're going to find out what's going on at the Onslow County Public Library. As always, we're so glad that you've joined us for Onslow County Today. Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and you can see we have quite the wonderful crowd with us today. This is the staff from our Onslow County Consolidated Human Services Department, and we're going to begin actually with our Assistant County Manager, Ms. Sherry Slater. Sherry, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us, Lisa.
Now, you have brought your team, and I use that in the truest sense of the word because you all embody what that means. Please take a moment and introduce everyone and their roles within the county.
Sure. This is our Consolidated Human Services team, and just to my left is Miss Angela Lee. She's our Health Director. Heidi Bauer is our DSS Director, and Christine Kennett is our Director of Senior Services.
Wonderful. We appreciate you all coming in, and you're going to really be sharing with us several things. We're going to talk about kind of the motivation for Consolidated Human Services, how you all have come under this umbrella of a team. And then we're going to talk a little bit about your new facility that you're constructing, and then give everyone an opportunity to talk about, one, what you're doing right now in Onslow County, and then how you are collaborating and what this consolidation has meant to you over the last, I guess, 2.5 years, Ms. Slater?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's begin with that. When this idea was born, where did that come from? What was the inspiration, if you will?
Well, in 2012, the General Assembly made a decision that counties could consolidate their human services regardless of their population. Prior to that, there had been a population threshold, and only the largest counties, such as Wake and Mecklenburg, had been able to consolidate. Once they made that determination, many counties began to look at what the benefits were. There are some cost benefits, there are service benefits, certainly to our citizens, efficiencies we can realize within our departments. And so Onslow County, like many other counties, began to look at that process, and it was a long deliberative process. They brought the School of Government in to do trainings and seminars to help our elected officials and our departments understand what that process would be like and what their options were. Mm-hmm. And in June of 2013, they made the decision to consolidate human services. And that involved some public hearings. It involved the commissioners making a decision on which way they would proceed with that. And we had to do things like rewrite our personnel policies so that we would be substantially equivalent to state policies as a part of the consolidated process. And in the end, we ended up with our consolidated agency, which has senior services, health, and DSS in it. And it gives us an opportunity to serve our citizens in a more efficient manner and in a way that, that really embodies what we try to present, which is meeting people where they are instead of them always having to come to us.
Exactly. Now, you know, we talked about these options and who you were going to bring together and what that would look like. And certainly this team of folks are not new to one another, however. This is not a 2.5-year relationship. These are folks who have worked together for a considerable amount of time. Share with us about bringing that team together that you already knew had the workings and the makings of the perfect team.
Sure. Well, we are very fortunate. Each of the ladies here, including myself, have been with the county, dare I say it, over 20 years each. So we have quite a bit of experience, and we all come from the human services field. Some of us, myself included, have done just a little bit of time in all the departments in one fashion or another. So it's given us a real appreciation and the ability to collaborate and work together. We can see the perspective from the different departments, and we're able to really there's a lot of creativity in this group, and they have a lot of good ideas on ways that we can sort of maximize our resources. Human Services is always resource poor as one of our attributes, and so by working together with a team that knows the community so well and knows what our resources are in the community and within county government, we've been able to really do a lot of wonderful things that again we believe benefit not only our programs and our staff but the folks that we're serving.
Now, Ms. Lee, I want to turn to you for just a second because we've had many conversations about the variety and kind of breadth of services that you offer. When you think about consolidating and working together collaboratively, talk to me a little bit about that delivery of service. And already, even though you're, and we'll get to your new facility in just a moment, you're not there, you're at that site. And you've seen for many, many years what that means for our citizens there. What do you think this new kind of incarnation will mean?
Well, we do have the luxury of being at the site, and our citizens are already so excited. Just the construction phase alone has wonderful comments when they come in. They are just anticipating, as are we, the opening of our new Consolidated Human Services facility and just the benefits of being able to come receive multiple services at one site. And they recognize the fact that it's time for a new building, and they are just pleased that our commissioners took the steps to be able to provide that as well.
Ms. Bauer, you probably, when I think about the idea of locations and locations and locations, your folks are probably the most widespread for, not necessarily for delivery of services, but just over the last 20 or 30 years by necessity or logistics. What does this mean to your folks? What have you been hearing from both your citizens and from your staff?
We are pretty widespread. We have 5 different locations we serve folks from, and every location serves a different type of client. So our clients are very happy to be able to get everything in one place. Our staff are very excited to be back together again. We have not been together in one building for about 15 years.
Wow.
So the prospect of being able to serve both the human services and the economic services side by side is a huge benefit for us and will streamline things immensely. Plus, we're looking forward to having our own space where it's not rented space, and being able to be in something that's been designed specifically for a health department and a Department of Social Services. There's only a handful of buildings like that across the state. Most DSSs are in retrofitted buildings.
So, Ms. Kinnick, you're in a slightly different situation because you won't come under the roof, but you will come under the umbrella and have come under that umbrella, that notion of, that idea of consolidated, bringing everyone together, if you will. But you get to be in different locations by design. Talk a little bit about how Senior Services is specifically out in the community to reach our senior population where they are.
Currently, we're in 5 different locations in the community by design. We have our main location on 258. However, we have satellite nutrition sites in Belgrade, Swansboro, Richlands, and also Sneads Ferry. And as of February 1st, we'll be moving to a new site in Sneads Ferry. It's the location of the old Sneads Ferry Library.
Oh,
and we're excited about that. That'll be a county-owned building, and we'll probably triple the size of the nutrition site that we're currently in. So we're really excited about that. It's going to be a big change for us and a lot of opportunity for the seniors to be able to expand and have some breathing room.
That is fantastic news for those folks in that southeastern corner of the county to be able to have that facility available to them. That's terrific news. And like we said, you won't come under the roof, but under that umbrella. What has it meant already for your folks at Senior Services to be able to collaborate with everyone and really be able to touch base in that formal sense?
Well, we already share so many clients.
Right.
There's already a lot of collaboration, and luckily we work so closely together. We know a lot of the programs that each other has, and we keep each other informed of the programs coming up. For instance, the low-income energy assistance program, when that's coming up, Heidi's always first to tell me so that I can make sure that my seniors are aware of the open dates coming up. And when the tax programs are coming open, I can make sure to tell them. So we're always keeping each other informed when programs that are special for our demographic are coming up. We're making sure each other are informed ahead of time. In addition, I have a Medicaid worker that works out at Senior Services with me, and they work closely with my CAP clients, which is my Community Alternatives Program for disabled adults. And having her there means the world. It's not only fantastic for our clients out there, but it also is a great help to our social workers and our other employees out there, because having her there makes they're able to answer questions and eligibility questions and stuff like that.
Very good. Well, so now we bring it back to you, Ms. Slater. We've talked about this great team and the pool of talent that they all have within their own agencies. And now as you talk about this building, Ms. Lee already had talked about it a little bit, that they're there on site. Let's pinpoint exactly for everyone who might not be familiar with the health department. Where will this new facility be situated?
Sure. The new facility will be at 612 College Street in downtown Jacksonville, which is currently the health department's location. And for some of you folks who've been around a little bit longer, it's the old hospital in downtown. So what we did this time last year, we actually demolished what was the old hospital, which was the Halsey building. And on the site of the Halsey building, which is on the corner of the property, we are in the process now of pile driving for the new Consolidated Human Services. And Lisa, when we began consolidation, we did not have a building in the plan at that time. The idea is that we put a team together of staff from all of the departments, all levels of the departments, in different areas of expertise that could help us plan for the best way to consolidate. And in that process, we were able to see, and our Board of Commissioners and our managers, from the information that the committee provided to them, that a Consolidated Human Services building was a real need. Again, as you said, by design, the Senior Services was not included in that building because they have a building now that is designed for their purpose. Right. And the footprint of that building is larger than we could accommodate on the property that we're building on. Mm-hmm. So that there was purpose in that. Exactly. It was not done without lots of thought and deliberation. But in addition to that, the idea of having a Consolidated Human Services building, as Heidi mentioned, her departments are in 5 different buildings. Most of those buildings we pay rent for. Mm-hmm. And so the county is currently spending a good deal of money on rent for facilities. At the end of the day, we do a lot of maintenance on those facilities. They were never intended for the purpose that we're using them for. And we were, of course, happy to have them when we needed them. But, you know, we've outgrown even those facilities. And so the idea that we could have a facility that we will not have to pay rent on once it's paid for, it belongs to the county, that will be designed for the purpose of serving the public that we're serving. And in addition to that, the idea, again, was never to bring everybody under one roof. And so we do have the senior programs that are out in the community. We also look for ways to reach out other programs in the community. The WIC department under our health department has an office on Tarawa Terrace. We will have other county workers, such as some eligibility workers from DSS, will be located at some points in the Sneads Ferry building, because there will be space there for that. So there are ways that we are still, even as we come under one roof, we're still reaching out to make sure that those services are available to our citizens.
Well, when we talk about the design of the building, I was fortunate enough to be there at the groundbreaking.
Yes.
And Ms. Lee, I have never seen quite so much joy in people's faces. I mean, at all levels, from community, from staff, of course, certainly county leadership, our Board of Commissioners. But I don't think I saw it in anyone's face more than I saw in Dr. Gopashan's face. And he made such really wonderful, we should point out he is, currently is he your board chairman?
He is.
And Dr. Gopashan he was just elated in his remarks. Talk a little bit about, from your boards, what you're hearing, this sense of joy, but in particular, when he used the acronym CHS for Consolidated Human Services, he talked also about the H standing for harmony, and this sense of chemistry that you all have. Talk a little bit about that, if you will.
I think that he touched on, kind of referenced back to what you said in the beginning about us being a team. He has been absolutely wonderful. Our whole Consolidated Human Services Advisory Committee has been truly supportive. They want what's best for the citizens of our community. They are there to support us and listen to us, help us tease out any concerns, questions, and they were extremely excited that day, and it definitely showed in his face and remarks. And he definitely, I think, feels that together there's nothing that the four of us can't do. Sometimes we hope we're able to live up to that, but he is a true believer in consolidation. He understands that it's an efficient way to provide services, and he has insight and is able to help us also identify, always offering suggestions to help us be better in what we're doing and the services that we're going to offer. And so I think that adds to the harmony that you see in the four of us, and also it will, I think, transcend to our staff as we bring our staff together with DSS and the health department. We hope that harmony, again, will continue. We expect that.
Very good.
So.
Well, Heidi, I want to ask you, when we're talking about this notion of vision, and this is really where CHS came from, is the vision of county leadership and what was happening with the growth of our community. And you've been with the county quite a while. You've seen that growth. You've seen those changes. What do you think about as you're then kind of projecting to the next stage of what CHS is all about, Consolidated Human Services, when you all are together and you're really, everything's cooking, and Ms. Slater talked about that notion of creativity, that vision for what's next.
I think one of the things that we've been able to do as a group is to really look at not just the collaboration amongst ourselves, but the collaboration with other pieces of the community. DSS has Medicaid workers at the hospital at this point so that we can speed that process up. We're looking at co-locating in different areas so that clients won't have such a drive in. We have collaboration with the partnership. We've seen from other counties the ability to contract out services that we've been providing, and the rationale has been if we could do it for the same amount of money with as much expertise, then why not? And so we've looked at some of that, and we've been able to create a partnership with the Partnership for Children to contract out the daycare services. We have our child support services contracted out. So we've seen a lot of efficiencies in that factor. And with the whole team together, there's just that much more mind power in the room. And once again, we all have some experience in each other's realms. And that has been very beneficial, because sometimes when you're from the outside looking in and you just know a little bit, you can come up with ideas that maybe nobody thinks can work, but when you have the expertise, they can figure out how to make it work. So it's been very helpful.
And that's, watching you all through the years bounce off of ideas off of one another, and that creative spirit. And Chris, it's not just about the creative spirit, it's also that sense of moral support, that cheerleading that I think that you all give each other as well. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, there is a lot of moral support. I think a lot of it boils down to is we trust each other. We trust each other. We know that each of us has a passion. We have a passion for Onslow County. As Sherry stated, we all have 20-plus years of experience serving Onslow. We have a passion for the citizens that we serve and the area that we work in. And we have a passion for each other. And I think we respect and we trust each other. And I think that is the moral support. I think that's the basis for it. It's when you look at your team and you know that they're just as enmeshed in the work that they do, and you know that their office light is on at 6:30 at night, just like yours is, because they have to finish that one thing. They have to call back that one last person because they know that they're waiting. That's the camaraderie that gives you what you need to keep moving on and to stay and do what you need to. So that's how I define and feel like I'm getting the support that I need.
That's fantastic. And when you get what you need, the citizens ultimately get what they need. And it's felt when someone calls you with a question, when someone calls you with a need. And now you're going to build this new building. You've broken ground. Ms. Slater, let's get to some nuts and bolts then.
Okay.
You've got your dream team. You've been collaborating and really envisioning what's going to happen. And now it's underway. You said, piles are being driven, the roads are being realigned, and driveways, and it's all exciting. So when people are excited, they want to know ultimately, when are you gonna open the doors? That's always the ultimate question.
It is. It's our question too. We're very excited. We anticipate being in the building in February of 2017.
Wow.
So it's on a very efficient and fast track. They're working diligently to keep us on schedule and to keep it moving. We have, again, a wonderful Consolidated Human Services Advisory Committee that has been fantastic in their support and their diligence with helping us keep everything straight. They've participated in community meetings where we've shown the public the building plans and the phasing. As we are building on a site that we currently still occupy, there's a little bit of phasing that has to be done. So as I said, last year we tore down the Halsey building. Currently we are constructing the new building on that site. Angela and her staff are continuing to serve citizens out of the current health department, and that's a little tricky sometimes. There's a road closed currently, and I won't say which one. By the time this airs, it'll be open again. But don't worry, we'll close another one. There's going to be a little bit of that for a few months while we get some of those nuts and bolts, as you say, straightened out. But in the end, what we'll have is a really nice facility where we can take care of the folks that we need to take care of, and our staff can work somewhere that is also a nice place to work. So we're very much looking forward to that. The transition, it has been 2.5 years for Onslow County since we consolidated. That it seems like yesterday and years ago, all at the same time. In that time, though, when consolidation first became possible, again, there were 2 counties that had consolidated under the old law, and that was Wake and Mecklenburg. Since that time, there are now 24 counties that are consolidated. And as they are some of the larger counties in the state, it is a good deal of our state population that falls under a consolidated human services. So it is definitely, it is not the anomaly anymore. It's now becoming much more mainstream. And it is something that other states are seeking information on. In fact, I would even say other countries. Dr. Gobishan left the country over the Christmas holiday to attend a medical conference and actually was asked to present on consolidation out of country at that conference. So it's a very exciting thing to know that not only are people across our state recognizing that this is a good way to do things and moving forward, but people throughout our country and in fact in other countries are recognizing that it's also a good way. So we're excited to be one of the first counties to take this on and to move forward with it.
Well, I don't think that there's a better way to end. You all have really taken this global approach globally and will lead the way. And on behalf of Onslow County, we thank you and we look forward to our next visit so we can see this next phase of your development.
Well, maybe we can take you on a tour of our new building on the next visit.
Sounds perfect.
Thanks.
I thank you all for being here and for sharing your story, and thank you again, as always, for your service and your leadership to Onslow County.
Thank you, Lisa.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and joining us now is one of our favorite guests, Lindsay Wolf with Onslow County Animal Services. Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, we've talked many, many times about how much I admire what Animal Services does for our community. We all love and can say how much we love our pets, but you and the work that you do are so much for the animal population of our community and ultimately about the public health of our community. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you for that effort.
Thank you.
And secondly, we want to talk about the tremendous year you all have had. We have a whole stack here of statistics, and those statistics really do come down to hard work by your team, by your staff, by your volunteers. And so let's talk about those big differences that you all have made this year.
Great.
And first is just the number of animals, cats, dogs, other, that you all have taken in this year. Give us a little bit of an idea.
This year we took in 5,266 animals this year.
5,266.
66.
All sizes, all shapes.
The majority are cats and dogs, and then we've had a lot of pigs this year. We had rats this year, a lot of ferrets, and I think we had a horse or two.
Oh my word. And you have to provide the accommodations. You have to provide that sanctuary for those creatures as well.
Yes.
Now, is that up or down from previous years, that intake to begin with?
Our overall intake is actually down 15%, and that's mainly because of the dedication of staff and our volunteers and all the programs that we're doing. It actually has meant more work for us to decrease the intakes. So it's been a very busy year.
You know, that's interesting for you to say that. So the number of animals that have been brought in is down, but it's because you all have worked so hard in public education programs, especially spay-neuter, I can imagine.
Yeah, we've worked really hard with spay-neuter. We implemented our SNAP program so citizens could come in and get vouchers for their animal spay-neuter surgery. So we still have that going right now. People can still come get vouchers for cats and dogs. And then we've hired a community outreach coordinator. She's been outreaching through Facebook, and we've had our community events. And we've been trying to educate the public on other resources instead of bringing their animal to us. What else can they do? So we have some staff that are trained for military. They know some resources that the military can use. We try to refer them to rescue groups. Now that we have our extensive foster program, that helps take the burden off as well. And so people are now kind of taking responsibility for themselves and finding a home for the animal before they bring it to us.
And you know, I think that's sometimes something we don't consider. You know, we certainly fall in love with that pet. We bring it into our home, and for a variety of reasons, maybe we just can't keep that pet. Maybe illness befalls us, or a child comes into our home, or for whatever reason, or you know, have to leave the area. And so you're giving people options and maybe where they didn't even realize options existed.
That's what we really try to do. We encourage them to post online, to talk to friends and family, because we want to be the last resort for anybody before they bring their animal to us. So we're really trying to give them those resources that they need so that they can rehome the animal, because we understand, life events come up and that's okay. And we want them to feel comfortable coming to us and asking for our help.
Now, on the other side of the coin is those animals that are brought in. You all have worked so diligently, I don't even know if that's a strong enough word, to encourage adoption of a shelter pet. Talk a little bit about, one, how those numbers have really gone up, your adoption numbers, and then the partnerships that have assisted you in that.
Yeah, may I look at my cheat sheet?
Absolutely.
So overall adoptions went up 29.4% this year, but compared 2 years ago, it's 72.6% increase.
That's amazing.
Our cats have actually seen the biggest increase, 66.9% increase in cat adoptions and 22.4% for dogs.
That is
So
incredible.
It's been tremendous. It's attributed to our hardworking staff and volunteers and our fosters. The fosters promote the animals out in town. Also, the fosters get them ready for a forever home because they're working on commands. They're training them, potty training them, so it helps. It makes them more marketable in the adoption community. And then our community events, PetSmart events, have been amazing. Each 10 event, we're adopting over 100 animals at each event. So just getting out there, and now the community knows that we're not that scary place that maybe it used to be, and that they can come in and they can volunteer there, they can foster for us, they can adopt. It's been great.
Anytime I happen to be in the shopping center where you all have those adoption events, especially there at PetSmart, it is just incredible to see the number of people that are there who want to give that cat or dog their forever home. And the energy is just so wonderful as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one number that we want to talk about, and you said you talked about the shelter as that scary place.
Mm-hmm.
One number that has also dramatically gone down is your euthanasia number. Tell a little bit about that and the change in sort of philosophy.
Yeah, so we've seen huge changes in euthanasia. Right now we're down 24% overall, 32.6% decrease for dogs, 24.3% decrease for cats. And our euthanasia rate for dogs is actually 15.1% of the population, which is among the lowest in the state. So we're so incredibly happy. A few years ago it was in the high 30s and now it's 15%. The cats have been in the high 80s and now we're at 62%. And if we continue, we can get that even lower. We've worked so hard to get it that way. We've had increased medical care. We've had our fosters and our rescues. We have over 140 foster families. We have over 100 rescue groups. We have one coordinator for each of those programs who also does intakes and adoptions, and they do everything. So they're so busy all the time. We have our community outreach that's constantly in the community. We have our Facebook posting the pictures of all the animals. And it used to be that, if an animal came in and it was injured, it would be euthanized. But now we have all these resources. We have fosters that have medical knowledge, so we can send those animals out to foster care. And now we have a veterinarian position on staff, so we can treat more than we used to. And so it's been really great for staff because no one likes to euthanize.
No.
And so we can confidently and proudly say that we don't euthanize dogs for time and space. It's medical and behavior, which has been tremendous.
So there really is that, as you say, that the change in resources and that really can support that change in philosophy, that change in approach. One thing you mentioned that I want to kind of reinforce, and you talked about Facebook. How important has social media been in sharing the word about what you do? And I have to tell you, oh my goodness, you had a Facebook posting the other day that if I didn't already have a wonderful shelter pet and she likes her domain, if I didn't, oh my goodness, I would have been first in line. Talk a little bit about the power of that social media.
Social media is amazing. When I first started, we had about 1,000 likes on Facebook, and now we have almost 8,000.
Wow.
And that's been within 18 months. It's been crazy. I love it, and the staff love it. They love to go on, and they like to read all of the comments. And Jennifer is our community outreach coordinator. She takes amazing pictures. She actually volunteered in that position for a year, and then we hired her full time. And it's so great. You see all the shares, and so people are sharing it to all these other pages, and then their friends who maybe wouldn't have thought to have a shelter pet, then they're seeing it, and so then they're coming in, and I think that's why we're seeing the increase in adoptions.
It's such a, like you say, it's just such a powerful forum for people to be able to see the love that these pets offer as well, that these shelter pets offer. Now, I also want to go back to, you talked about Jennifer starting out as a volunteer. Talk about your volunteer corps, because it's not that you just show up and say, hey, I'm here to help. You have a wonderful training program and a great support for your volunteers as well.
And Jennifer is now our volunteer coordinator as well as part of community outreach, and she's actually redesigning all of our programs. So in the next year, we'll have a completely redesigned program. We're looking into like the tier system. So as you volunteer longer, you move up in the tiers and you get more responsibilities, maybe some more glamorous, fun jobs instead of just helping clean. Although some volunteers are there every day of the week because they love to clean, they love to hold the cats and be there daily. They've been really great, and Jennifer just implemented some software so that now volunteers can sign up online and do their own scheduling, and we can track their hours so that now we can celebrate them at their milestones for their hours. And they've just been really great. The outpouring, our volunteers are also our fosters most of the time, so it's, vice versa, and just the commitment that they have to the shelter and the change in community perception has been tremendous in the past 18 months.
Now, you've talked about this community involvement, this idea of community perception, and what you've done in the community has been tremendous, but also the community has begun to give back. I know that just before the holidays, you kind of had a very special drive for food and different things. Talk about, maybe I can't adopt a shelter pet, or it's not in my capabilities to foster, but I can help you in other ways, and how can we do that?
You can help by volunteering. You can also help by donating. We have an Amazon wish list. I think that's linked up on our Facebook. Otherwise, you can always contact Jennifer and she'd be happy to share it. You can donate financially either to us or our nonprofit, Friends of Animal Services. If you don't have any monetary resources at this time, you can always collect, paper towel holders, like when your used rolls, toilet paper rolls. You can make pipe cleaner toys for the cats. We take newspapers, old bedding sheets, towels. Towels are huge. We always need towels and rags. And that's how we clean our cages. So just donating those things that are just lying around the house that maybe you would have thrown out, instead you can bring to us.
So there are any number of ways that we can help. And, again, I want to reiterate how the agency itself has really evolved and changed. Talk a little bit about the spirit of your staff with those changes.
Staff has been really excited about them, especially the girls up at the front desk, because they're the ones that are processing the adoptions, and they're seeing all of these people come, and now we can have lines of 30 people waiting, and we have 2 or 3 staff members, and sometimes people have to wait for 2 hours, but we find that most of the time they're happy about it because they're getting to take home the animal, and everyone's excited because that long line means that all of these animals are going out the front door, and that just makes us so happy, because that's why we're there. Every single person there loves animals, and no one wants to euthanize. We all want them to leave into happy homes forever. So they've just really loved the changes, and they've jumped on board with the vision too, and they share that vision, and just taking it up to the next level and being proactive and progressive, and it's been a really great year.
And helping all those wonderful pets find their forever home.
Yeah.
Now, Lindsay, we want to just make sure that everyone knows where you are, how to find you on social media, or how to find you on the internet. So first, let's just give folks your address, your brick and mortar address. How can we find Onslow County Animal Services?
We're at 244 Georgetown Road in Jacksonville, so it's near the Board of Education, down kind of towards the southwest area of town. And you can like us on Facebook. We're Onslow County Animal Services. We've also just did an Instagram account. So that's starting to catch on. And I think it's Onslow County Adoptables, but you'd have to check our Facebook page because I know it has the link there.
Okay, well, very good. Well, of course, as always, we thank you. We thank you for what you do for our community. And is there anything as we close that you wanted to share with our viewers about the love that a shelter pet can bring to their household?
There's just nothing like it. I really think that if people opened up their their homes to shelter animal, they know that you saved them. I have a shelter pet, and she was not highly adoptable, and I took her home and I worked with her for a really long time, and that girl loves me and unconditionally, and it's really great. And they're there to greet you when you come home or when you have a hard day, and they always love you, and it's incredibly rewarding.
Well, we thank you so much for that, and we look forward to talking with you in the future.
Great. Thank you, Lisa.
Welcome back to Onslow County today. And it's a new year, and apparently it's going to be a new you, because the Onslow County Public Library has got a tremendous number of resources to usher us into the new year. Thank you all for being here. We've got Karen Moore. Karen, tell us a little bit about your role with Onslow County Public Library.
I have been public services librarian for about 2 years now, have worked in many different areas of the public library, and am primarily responsible right now for programming, adult programming, outreach, training, things like that.
And you have brought with you a new face to the Onslow County Public Library family. Please introduce our newest guest.
This is Katie, and she is now at our Richlands Branch Library, and I'll let her tell you a little bit about what she's doing. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm Katie Lawson, and I am with the Richlands Branch. I'm the new library assistant there, and pretty much I do a little bit of everything. I am new to Onslow, completely new, so very excited to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you here as well. And as I understand it, you have come to us from Gaston County.
Yes, I have. I was in Gaston County for about 10 years. So, yep, just moved here about 2 months ago.
Well, welcome. We're glad
you.
to have you. And you all have brought us a wonderful slate of programs to kind of
Yes.
kick off the new year. And we have to begin with everybody's favorite author. And I don't say that because, he and I share a birthday month or anything, but you have, as always, the wonderful Dr. Seuss programs coming up. Tell us a little bit about Dr. Seuss and what's going on.
Well, every year we throw a very big Dr. Seuss birthday bash. This year we'll be having a very special after-hours programming, so it'll be even bigger, more exciting than ever. We'll begin these programs because we'll have them system-wide at all branch locations. So we'll begin them February 26th. At our Richlands and Sneads Ferry branch, and then March 4th we'll finish up at the Jacksonville location and our Swansboro locations. So basically we're just celebrating all things Seuss.
All things Seuss, which there can't be anything better. If you read a Dr. Seuss book, that's a party in itself, isn't it?
That's
It
right.
is.
Now, Katie, we were talking about this a little bit off camera. Dr. Seuss just really lends himself. Those books really do lend themselves to children becoming emergent or independent readers.
Absolutely.
What is the power of Dr. Seuss?
Absolutely. From a literacy standpoint, I can tell you it lends itself to rhyming and repetition, but brings a lot of fun into the reading for the kids. So they can read with their parents and remember the verses, and a lot of times, as you said with your daughter off camera, she actually memorized the verses and was reading in a sense.
And really, who does not want a cat in a hat to show up at your
That's
front
right.
door?
That's right.
I mean, that's every kid's dream. Now, you also have some wonderful programs scheduled for Black History Month that will be in February. Karen, tell us a little bit about what you've got going on.
Yeah, every year we also celebrate Black History Month, and this year we are doing something that we think is pretty exciting because we're bringing in two very special performances. So no matter where you are in Onslow County, you'll get to participate in one of those. So Bright Star Touring Theater will begin, that's going to be Saturday, February 20th in Sneads Ferry and Richlands. They are going to perform from Anansi to John Henry, and those are trickster stories and tall tales. So if you've never experienced Bright Star, they are really tremendous. We've had them at our library locations in the past. They're out of Western North Carolina, and they always do a really fantastic job. They're all in costume, very professional. And then we'll finish up that following Saturday, the 27th, in Jacksonville and Swansboro, and we're really thrilled that Triumph Palace has been willing to share with us their John Canoe drumming and dancing troupe.
That is going to be wonderful. Having seen them perform in New Bern at Tryon Palace, it's unparalleled. People will love this. People will love seeing it. Katie, I want to ask you, you've been with us for 2 months now, you said.
Just 2 months.
And already you have seen just what the Richlands branch can do. It's this way all over the county.
Yes.
Talk about the energy that you're feeling already from your visitors.
Absolutely. Right now, what I've seen in the past 2 months is just such a dynamic sense that I get from staff too. So I have to say that Karen's been fantastic, and the ideas that they present and the passion that they have for the community is it's unparalleled.
Well, it's just only going to
Yes.
get better.
That's
It's
true.
Get better. Now, Karen, we've talked about this program in the past, and I was intrigued, but my husband doesn't let me date. So tell me about Blind Date with a Book.
Well, this is something that we did for the very first time last year, and I'll let Katie talk a little bit about that. She'll be kind of new to that this year, but she's familiar with that program.
Okay.
Yes, very excited about this program. Now, most of us have either been on a blind date or know of a blind date, and so basically we're taking that concept to books in the library. Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to wrap books with craft paper in the library, and nobody's really going to know what they're getting, just like you would on a blind date. Maybe a few teasers here and there. You'll also have the opportunity when you check out the book, you'll get a kiss from a librarian. Not a real kiss, but a Hershey's kiss. And then afterwards, after you've had a sufficient amount of time to read your book, we're all going to meet at Port City Java in Jacksonville to kind of dish about our books and drink some coffee and tea and just really socialize with everybody.
What a fun, really neat way to explore new literature and maybe something you
Definitely.
wouldn't have picked off the shelf yourself. So that is fantastic. I am looking forward to that. That sounds like a lot of fun and a real neat twist on a traditional book club, really. That is great.
And it was incredibly popular last year.
Oh,
We were super excited. We had a tremendous response from people who had said, I've seen this on Facebook and other libraries, or I have actually lived in other parts of the country where libraries have done this. So they were really excited that we had started that last year.
We brought it here. Great. Oh, I'm looking, and now I want to hear what happens next. It's like being on that date. So what happened?
That's right.
That's fantastic. Now, we already alluded to this a little bit. New year, new you. We all make resolutions, we all set goals, and you all are going to help us make it happen. Talk about your program. What is this? February the 6th kicking off.
It is. We are actually bringing in lots of different health and fitness organizations and groups. It's going to be sort of a health and fitness fair. It will be just sort of a floating event, so everyone's invited to come out February 6th from 10 to 1. Going to be a lot of different participants there. I'll let Katie talk a little bit about some of the participants, but this is the first year we've done something like that, but we felt like we needed to showcase all of the wonderful organizations, whether they're health or fitness or food, that can just give everybody a better start to the new year.
And like Karen said, there's going to be at least 10 representatives, different representatives there. Cooperative Extension is going to be there. The Onslow County Health Department is going to be there as well as Onslow Memorial. Most of the things that we're excited about actually is Onslow Memorial is going to be bringing a stroke nurse and an ER nurse, and they're going to be offering free blood pressure screenings, free blood sugar screenings, as well as checking cholesterol.
So really it's about, we can all make those resolutions, but you're giving us the tools to make it happen. Very good.
Right. We're bringing in some sort of fun angles too. It may not seem so fun to have that cholesterol check, but also some different fitness alternatives that maybe people they've heard about but aren't very familiar with, and so just giving them a broader spectrum of things that they can participate in through the new year.
Very good. And last but not least, books at the bistro.
This is brand new. Brand new. February 9th will be the very first Books at the Bistro. And this is actually going to be held in our Swansboro location. I say Swansboro location, it'll be in Swansboro, but it's going to be at the White Oak River Bistro.
Okay.
So the Friends of the Library for Swansboro, and I should say our Friends of the Library, whether it's Swansboro or Jacksonville, any of our locations, they are just instrumental in helping us put together these programs and just getting these programs off the ground for us. So we always appreciate them. But this will be a fun way for people to just come out and relax, discuss a book. They'll pick a book title, talk about the book, and if they want to stay for lunch after the book discussion, they can do that and stay and socialize.
Very good. You know, when I think about the library and the library as this infinite pool of information and knowledge, not only can we go to you, but now really the library is coming to us and really going out in the community. What has kind of precipitated this change in what you all are doing?
Well, I would say, and Katie may have another perspective, I would say a lot of it really can be attributed to social media. Having that exchange with people through social media, having a better understanding of what they want from the library and adapting to that. And I think that's been tremendously helpful. Our social media presence has grown tremendously. And we do get a lot of feedback, not only person to person with them walking in, but through social media. So I think that's helped a lot.
I think a lot of it is society is changing and the library is changing with it too. So part of that is getting out into the community to really show what the library is all about. That it is about books, but it's not all about books now. It's about socializing and really building a community too.
Well, very good. Now, we want to make sure that everybody knows how to reach you and knows how to find out more information. So can we get your main telephone number, your website address, and of course, any of your social media information you want to share?
Okay, well, you can call us at 910-455-7350, and you can find us online at onslowcountync.gov/library.
All right, very good. And then Facebook?
We have Facebook, we have Twitter, and I believe we have an Instagram as well.
So any way that people can find you, you're out there.
We are.
Absolutely.
Well, I thank you both for using this opportunity to share what you're doing. Karen, as always, it's great to see you, and thank you so much for being here. And Katie, welcome to Onslow County.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, as always, for joining us for Onslow County Today. We'd also like to say a very special thank you to our guests, Sherry Slater, Angela Lee, Heidi Bauer, Christine Kennett, Lindsay Wolf, Karen Moore, and finally, Katie Lawson. We're also glad that you joined us. It's a new year, and it's a great time to get out and explore your Onslow County today.